Okay. Bubbles wants to say good morning to everyone today. I hope you're all doing well. 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. And Bubbles wants to say hi. She's like, I haven't said hi to everyone in a while. Good morning. 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. I am Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach. And we have Bubbles over here every day. She's like, it's nice and quiet while you're doing the show. Try to keep it quiet so we can do the show. And today, I want to talk about Agile Project Management. We did the program last night, and I'm going to show, since I have that, I'll do USA jobs today, and I'll do EU, and we'll do the other ones as the week goes along. Hi, Bubbles. What are you doing? She wants full attention. I'm trying to do the show. Anyway, so on the screen, scrolling the USA jobs. And one of the big jobs is Agile Project Management. You can't imagine, maybe you can, how many times I hear, Agile doesn't work. We can't use Agile in project management. And that doesn't work with what we're doing. And I want to talk about today about the Agile Manifesto and show how it does. And it can, and it will help you make you money and deliver product to your customer. So we're going to talk about the Agile Manifesto. We're going to talk about Agile Project Management a little bit today. What my take is in that, and then we'll go from there. So, good morning. 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. I'm Greg Mester, Scrum Master, Agile Coach. And here we talk about Scrum and Agile. Today we're going to spend more on Agile. Talk about it in a very practical and tactical way so that you can bring value to your customer, not work crazy hours to do so, and get home to family and friends and have a little fun in the office and everywhere else, right? So I thought it was funny today, thinking about project manager really kicked in me. And I put the notes on my phone about it before, but then talking to my neighbor, they had a deployment this weekend. And I guess they didn't have their signatures or approvals or whatever it was to go out approve. So basically, the whole team was getting ready to do a deployment, but they didn't have everything ready. My personal opinion was I think you should fire the project manager for not having a go, no go for doing deployment, and that everyone's waiting to do stuff on the weekend. But if you don't have your stuff, then that really is the project manager's fault. I'm sorry, but it is. And on that note, let's talk about project management and Agile project management. So I can give you a little story. As I go, I'll talk about little pieces of some things I've done pre me becoming a Scrum Master and really getting into the Agile world and practicing all these certs I have. So, and in fact, I practiced some of them before I even knew there was a cert for it. I go, oh, cool, I get a certification for what I do. This is awesome. So, Agile project management. How does everyone says, oh, we practice Agile. Well, do you really? Or Agile won't apply to this project because it's supposed to be waterfall and such, right? I want to say, first thing for an Agile project manager, if you're putting in for an Agile job, is understand the manifesto, okay? Frameworks, all that, how it goes. If you really read the PMP guide, there is no framework in PMP. Sorry, there is none. You apply whatever framework your organization is going to be doing. There's core principles in being a project manager or in the PMP that do not matter about what framework you're doing. Same thing goes with Agile. And where that comes in place is the Agile Manifesto. And we're going to go a couple things, talk about project management, how to make it more Agile, and we're going to relate it to the manifesto. If you are putting for an Agile project management job, my advice is to understand the Agile Manifesto first, then pick a couple frameworks from which to understand and how to practice. Okay, so let's look at the manifesto. Value number 1, individuals and interactions over process and tools. What does that mean? That means you as a project manager or anybody who's in charge, because it applies to anybody. Let's say this. We have tools because we're an international group now. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Anybody says, oh, we're all going to be co-located. I would love that, but HR has screwed that up. There's people scattered all across the universe. How do you get more interactive? Well, one thing as a project manager is like if you're looking on one of the chat channels or emails, and all of a sudden the emails just start blowing up, right? That's when you, as a project manager, want interactions between individuals. You don't want individual emails. You want everyone to be interacting. My old technique was I would call a meeting, get everybody in a meeting. Let's talk this out because I'm spending way too much money for you just trading emails back and forth for something probably get done in a half-hour conversation. We'll be done. We'll move on to the next thing that's stopping us from producing our product. So there's an example of that manifesto: individuals and interactions over process and tools. Yes, you have chat, you have Slack, Teams, whatever. There's a bunch of things in Jira that are out there, but the interaction is the most important. When people aren't talking, or when they get together talk, they get stuff solution quicker. And that's where the Scrum part comes in. That's where the complex situation, Scrum, a lot of people talking about what solution, how do we solve this problem? That's Scrum, okay? So there's a tie in the Scrum, but I really didn't want to, but I just did. So individuals interaction, number one, okay, over process and tools. So that's one. As a project manager, when you see that, you need to get people talking and interacting with each other. And also, one other thing about that is individuals, like a Scrum Master, you as project manager need to go out and visit, walk out. You are not king or queen of the castle. You need to get out of there and go work with the people that are on the job and go visit them in their world. That's how you lead as a project manager. Okay, so that's the individual. So you're worried about the individuals. How are they doing? How are they performing? Do they need anything, right? As a project manager. So that's one on the manifesto. Two, working software over documentation. I said this before. How many people buy a spec? Nobody buys a spec, period. They don't, right? They want working software. I had that where I had big programs. You write your design spec first, then you code and blah, blah, test and, do the whole V thing, right? So in that realm, I crafted where my software engineers would work with the people writing the spec at the same time. So as people wrote the spec, they would give pieces of that spec off to the software engineers to get something developed, because it can write a spec. And I can talk about a military tank that the United States want to do. My biggest complaint was you can't build it. What you're writing right now does not exist. That's great, but our goal is to produce something and give it to the soldiers. And my goal was to make sure whatever was written could be built. So as we wrote the spec, we had demo product to verify that the spec actually worked and we could meet that. So I shrunk the delivery time to nothing, or like monthly cycles, let's say, and developing that. So we had working software, not just a spec, because nobody buys a spec. I'm sorry, they don't. They buy stuff when they see it, feel it, touch it, smell it, taste it. I don't know, buying food, coffee, whatever. Those are the kind of things they do. So that's part two, getting that working. How do you get everyone and start testing stuff? What do you need to test it? They need to see the product. The testers need to see it, and they need to do some experimental testing just to give you feedback on what's kind of working, or if you have any things in the future that they have to get new equipment, because you know what? You just created something that didn't exist in the past. So maybe you need all new testing equipment. So that's the second manifesto. Third is customer collaboration over contract negotiation. Now, when you deal with the government, there's a little bit of contract stuff, because you know what? People challenge stuff. Oh, you were too close. So you got to have a contract. What you really want is to be able to collaborate on the scope. Really, on a large project, there hasn't been scope changed because of a couple of reasons. One, the customer wanted to take money and spend it elsewhere, so reduce how much time and effort you can do. So you always got to be able to negotiate the scope and the outcome. Two, there's always negotiation between what is wanted and what's possible. Where had engineers who wanted to build a device that would broadcast out their information every 30 seconds. I needed a 5-year life battery span. Wasn't going to get it. They're like, oh, we're not going to get the 5. We've been working on it. I'm like, okay, what are you doing? So we're broadcasting every 30 seconds. I'm like, oh my God, we don't get the data for once a day. I don't need every 30 seconds. How about we, an hour, once an hour, or how are we doing on that? Oh yeah, then we got 5 years life. No problem. We're good to go. If you want it once an hour, we're good. We got plenty of power to do what we need to do. So there's negotiation, right? So you got to have that conversation and negotiation, what they think they need and what they can deliver and what's possible and what is really needed. The last thing, responding to change versus following a plan. Hey, good morning. I'll just put good morning here in the text. Good morning. So, the last one, responding to change or following a plan. Again, this is Agile Project Management, right? So when they give you a plan, we got this plan we want to achieve. Fine. You might have to change that plan. Things come up that other things take over priority. There's a bigger issue. So you have to be flexible. But now here's where the plan and understanding the plan and the Agile part come into play. You need the plan to get a visibility where your risks are, where your cushion is, how things lay out. So when change does come, and it will, how to adjust for that change is coming down to impact your project. So those are the kind of things you got to look at as far as responding to change. So you want a plan, an overall plan. Here's what we're thinking we're going to do, but we know stuff's going to come around, and you as an Agile project manager have to be able to adjust, know where your cushion is, know where things are, and being agile responding to those outside forces or internal forces, depending if we thought we could do this and we can't do that. Okay, what can we do? And you adjust your plan for that. So that is what an Agile project manager is about. It's about working with individuals, making sure people talking and they're not stretching the time out, delivering working software, because no one buys a spec. I'm sorry, but a spec is important because you need it, because it's required and it's regulatory a lot of times. Customer collaboration versus contract negotiation. There is some contract because they need to cover themselves and negotiate and tell what they want to do and how much they're going to spend. But it's about collaboration on adjustments on things that they need a little bit of adjustments. Like I said, we had a 30-second, then I did an hour, and then we got 5 years of battery, like that. We didn't even change anything. It was just negotiation of what the rate was. And then responding to change of our plan. Things will always change, but you need that plan to give you a good idea where your capabilities are, where you need to make adjustments, where you're going to notify customers when things come up, because outside forces or inside forces impact it. So that's what I wanted to talk about, Agile Project Management. There's a lot of jobs out there for Agile Project Manager. I think when it's scrolling by on the screen, we got Scrum Master, we got 61,000 over top in the United States. Agile Product Owner, we got 17,000 and 5,000. Agile Project Manager, 38,000 jobs here in the United States alone. So knowing Agile and what we just talked about is key for helping you. So when you talk that narrative of what you did, what I just gave you is the Agile Project Management narrative that you kind of talk stories to in your experience when you do job interviews. Okay. With that, I want to say, have a good evening out there, and at 6 o'clock out there overseas, and have a great day here in wherever you are in the world. And happy scrumming. Take care, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye. See ya.